You are only the central intelligence. This is all a game of identity. Shift your identity from being a person to being the creationary force itself. Shift your identity to the Big Bang. Become the entire planet and all of the people interacting. Become the entire creationary force. If you can shift your identity to being the entire creationary force, then you can become God. You can recognize yourself as God. God has always been in this diamond around your neck, but you're so arrogant that you keep separating yourself from God. You keep separating yourself from the creationary force itself. There's only one intelligence present at play with itself. It's the central intelligence, and it's what's happening right now. This moment is this civilization at play with itself as one intelligence. This is one out of infinite possibility. This is a manifestation of eternity. But you're so arrogant to contract yourself into a person identity and separate yourself from the one intelligence. You basically are a person saying that I'm separate from the Big Bang. That's what you're doing. That's arrogant. I was also doing that. Awakening is shifting identity from being a separate person to being the entire creationary force. Then once you see as everything is God interacting with itself, then you no longer can commit malevolence because you know everything is you. Everything's one intelligence. Just look into the pupil at the center of everyone's eye. It's the same pupil. It's the same source. It's the same one intelligence, playing with itself from different perspectives, enjoying its grand creation of a planet orbiting a star with a civilization that has this very specific history and these very specific challenges and this very specific geopolitics and geoeconomical climate, with these very specific countries and this very specific 8 billion forms and appearances and costumes that they're wearing. But it's all one intelligence. If you look at the pupil, you'll see the sameness, the same source behind it all. But you're attached to the geopolitics, you're attached to your country, you're attached to your religion, you're attached to your career, you're attached to your identity, you're attached to your name, and your attachments and the perpetuation of those attachments is what creates the massive argument, because you think you're separate from other people and you don't see it as one intelligence. Look at the pupil, go all the way into the pupil of every single person, and what you'll see is the exact same source that is witnessing its creation. There's one source, one intelligence witnessing, observing, experiencing infinite creation, and planet Earth is one dreamed example. It's a manifestation of eternity. There was never a beginning and there's never going to be an end. You'll never come to the end of all possibilities, ever, ever. And you've had mathematicians and logicians for hundreds of years try and tell you that. You'll never come to the end of all of the possibilities, mathematically. That's what we are metaphysically. You'll never come to the end of eternity. You'll never come to the end of infinity. You are the creator. You are the very source of this one intelligence at play with itself. But you're diluted and contracted and distorted into a separate finite person identity. And you're trying to extract peace and happiness from relationships and substances and experiences and material possessions. And you're causing havoc and suffering in the civilization. The number one thing you can do is just learn how to shift your identity, constitutionalize yourself away from personhood and towards God. Recognize yourself as God, as the one intelligence. There is only one central intelligence present and at play with itself. That is all God. Stop being a separate person. Shift your identity. Constitutionalize yourself in the new shift in identity to being the fucking creator of it all. See everyone as the creator of it all. If you look into their pupils, you will see the same witness, the same eye, the same God. But you're not subtle enough. All you're focused on are the differences. And that's the point of our creation, is to create this very asleepening mechanism where we forget and then have to remember. In the forgetting or the asleepening process or the hiding process, we think we are separate and we're so arrogant. And in the remembering, in the awakening, in the seeking process, we turn inward and we stop arguing with God. We stop being separate. And in that turn inward, we stop creating suffering because we recognize our true nature as a cameo, an appearance of eternity, of infinity, as the creator itself. And we begin seeing everything as that. Shift your identity to seeing everything as one intelligence at play with itself and liberate yourself from suffering. It's all about identity. This entire creationary game is about identity. Shift your identity as fast as possible from being a separate person to being God, to being the very source, to being the very one intelligence at play with itself. And see that everywhere you look moving forward, as this is all one intelligence at play with itself, exploring, experiencing, having this beautiful, fun dream. Until you make that shift from person to creator, you will suffer and you will laugh at yourself when you awaken because of your arrogance and because of all of the suffering that you perpetuated. Shift your identity to the creator. You are only the central intelligence. There is only one intelligence at play with itself. Become the entire Big Bang and the entire creationary force itself. If you can make that one shift from being I'm a tiny little human on a planet that is completely random with a bunch of other tiny separate humans that are completely random, to I am the fucking Big Bang itself and the entire creationary force itself and all of the people on the planet at play with itself, exploring. If you take on that identity, you win the game. You become lucid in the dream. Become lucid in the dream. Awaken to the identity as the one intelligence at play with itself. And then serve the creation rather than trying to extract greedily from the creation. It's so arrogant when you believe you are a separate, finite entity in the one intelligence. You believe you're separate and finite from it, that you then go on to try and extract from it and get peace and happiness from it because you don't know it is you. Now, albeit this is all part of the creationary game, but the faster that you stop doing that you stop identifying with yourself as a finite, separate person from the one intelligence, the faster you can stop creating suffering. The faster you stop arguing with God. The faster you reunite with the kingdom of God that is within you. And the faster that you serve your creation because you see it all as one intelligence. Shift your identity from being a person to being the fucking creationary force itself. Become awakened. Become lucid in the dream. It's all about the shift in identity. You are only the intelligence behind the whole play. And you'll notice that once you shift your identity to being the one intelligence at play with itself, you'll notice that you'll have your personhood conditioning arise while you are trying to maintain the awareness of everything being one intelligence at play with itself. So you'll try to be serving the creation, and then you'll notice that your little conditioning will arise. Your personhood, contracted identity, where it's trying to seek validation or try and extract some sort of happiness. And what you'll do is you'll become more and more aware of that over time, and you'll purify it. Separation and victimhood are arrogance. You are not separate. This is the one intelligence at play with itself. And you are not a victim. You are the fucking creator of this reality. But you're stuck in the person identity and you have to shift. Whether you like it or not, the shift is coming. So you may as well sovereignly decide now to shift. You may as well. Take this moment right now to reflect inward. Am I a person? If the answer is yes, then practice daily seeing yourself as the Big Bang and as the very creationary force that is at play on this planet. The more that you do that, and you stop seeing yourself as a separate person from the one intelligence, the more you'll awaken faster, and then fight off your person conditioning, and then become a true steward, a true shepherd to the creation awakening. Look in the pupil of everyone's eyes, and you will see the very source, the very nothingness that we arise from, that comprehends the entire play that is happening. Be the very source that births the creationary force and then comprehends its play. Be the very source that births the creationary force and then watches the play. And this is but one of an infinite amount of plays. Wake up to that and wake up to your true nature. Thank you.